Om Shrutismriti-Purāṇānaṁ ālayam karuṇālayam namāmi bhagavatpādam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankarācāryam Keshavam Bhattarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sada Shiva Samarambam Shankarācārya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकार निरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः We are seeing Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, Atharva Vediya Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Last class, I mentioned you about what is an opponent in the tradition. It's not like the opponent of the boxer. A person who believes that Vedas are true, but there are some questions for them. Some questions are there. When the Vedantin means a person who studied traditionally the last portion of Vedas, and he know the highest goal, and he reached the goal that he is Brahman, and he wants to make others also to know the reality. Those who are involved in this type of activities, they are called Vedantins. They don't have the pressure to realize others, but they will love to make them understand. They don't have the pressure. So Vedantins give the answers for the valuable questions of the opponents. I told you in an elaborated way who is an opponent in the tradition. And their questions are very relevant, and it's all Kala Adidam, beyond the time. That means at any point of time, that questions are not older. They are having more values even right now at this time period. So questions are involved in the commentary also, and in the verses also. Those answers of the question. And the questions I have to make you understand. For example, last class we already saw Saprayojanada Tesham Supne Vipratipadyante. The 7th verse, Tasmad Adau Adyandavatvena Mithyaeva Kalute Smrtaha. An opponent asked the Vedantin. Vedantin is also called Siddhantin. Siddhanta means the equation that I am Brahman, or the soul and the largest truth are one and the same. That equation is realized by whom? They are called Siddhantin. Both are same. Vedantin and Siddhantin. Both are same. One who propels this reality towards the world and people for their welfare of the uplift of humanity, if I can say. They want to make them release from the pain so that they will give this traditional teaching without expecting nothing. They are called Siddhantins or Vedantins. An opponent asked the question, in the waking state, each and every object conveys a purpose. A pot can hold water. A pot can used used for cooking. Water can be used for our thirsty, to quench our thirst. How can you say it is all just an error? In dream, partially we accept, no problem. We accept it. Why? In the dream, we see different things, and when in the waking state, we don't see them. But how can you deny the things which are seen in the waking state, which serves a purpose in the waking state? A food will make us to come out of our hunger. How can you say food is an error? This was the question. For that question, the Siddhantin, Gaudapada Acharya, the traditional teacher, gives the proper answer. Saprayojanada tesham supne vipratipadhyante. Whatever activities you have done in the waking state will give an oppositional experience in the dream state. For example, if you drink water before you go to bed, in the dream, again you will see that you are very much thirsty and you are in a desert. Really speaking, you are sleeping in a bed and you have taken sufficient water also. But in the dream state, you will see something very much against what you have done in the waking state. This is called Saprayojanada Tesham Supni Vipradipatyanti. In the dream state, whatever we have done in the waking state will become against. There is a contradiction due to the experiences in the waking state and the dream state. If the waking state is true and real, the water which we have taken before going to bed, how can I see that I am thirsty and I am sitting in a desert? This is called contradictory. There is a contradiction in the experiences of the dream state, so that waking state is not real at all. If at all the waking state is true and real, that experience should continue in the dream state also. It's not there for anybody in this world. Everybody sees something other than what they have experienced the waking state. Therefore, tasmad adau andavatvena, having a beginning and an end for anything what we see, what we perceive, what we experience in the waking state, they are all having a beginning and having an end. They are all considered as mithya or remembered by the sages and the noble-hearted people or the traditional teachers, mithya, as an error. They are all seemingly appearing. In reality, they are also errors. They are all error. The waking state itself is an error. This is what we discussed in the last class. Opponent's question was this: waking state is true and a dream state can be partially untrue. But the Siddhantin or a Vedantin, the traditional teacher, answered waking state is also unreal, same as the dream state. That is why our experiences are contradictory in the dream state. This is been elaborately discussed in the last class. Now, going to the 8th verse. 8th verse also is an answer for the opponent's question. The opponent asked the Siddhantin. Remember, opponent means in Sanskrit he is called Purva Pakshi or Purva Paksham, one who is sitting right in front of this Vedantin and he raises some questions which is against the reality, and we need to answer properly for those questions. Then only we can also sleep properly at night. You cannot give some half-cooked potato as an answer, You should be sincere what you have earned in your life so that you have the clarity in which standpoint you are living, so that you can make others also understand in the proper way. Without that, everything will become a half-cooked potato. You yourself also don't have the standpoint on the reality, and you cannot make others also understand what is the reality. Okay. Now, it is told here, an opponent is asking a question to the Siddhanti. What is the question? Opponent want to say that dream state is a completely different state, and the entity appearing in the dream state is also not the entity appearing in the waking state. Completely it is different. At the same manner, dream state has a causal relationship with the waking state. So 2 points to be remembered. Dream state is a completely different state, and the entity appearing in the dream state is completely different from the entity appearing in the waking state. Why? He has a solid reason. The opponent has. The opponent in Sanskrit is called Purva Pakshi. Sometimes my uttering will be in the Sanskrit. The Purva Pakshi raised a question. You cannot get confused. Purva Pakshi means the opponent in Sanskrit. The opponent raises a question, and which is solid and relevant. Why? The dream state have unique and special appearances of objects. White elephant with the 4 tusks. Or I am having wings and I am flying towards heaven. I will be riding on a big bird in the sky. These type of experiences I may get in the dream. All are unique and special objects in the waking state, dream state. So, dream state is a completely different state. This is what you want to point out. Because the objects which are appearing there are completely different and also unique. That is why the entity is also an almighty entity other than the entity appearing in the waking state. This is what the two major points. And the third point is whatever experiences we enjoy in the dream state should not be analyzed or judged in the waking state. Opponent says that how can you equalize the dream state with the waking state? Both are error. You should not judge the dream state with the waking state. You cannot analyze the dream state with the waking state. Why? They are different entirely with respect to the entities and with respect to the state. So 2 points major and one is minor. That is, dream state has a causal relationship with the waking state. We have to accept that. This is what opponent says, the first point, because whatever we perceive in the waking state, according to that, there are some ideas in the dream state, and it has a causal relationship. Other thing is that both states are different and both entities which are appearing. The waking state entity is called Vishwa. The dream state entity is called Taijasaha. Taijasaha is different from Vishwa. You should not compare also the waking state and the dream state, and cannot analyze also, cannot judge also. Both are entirely different. These 3 points are being raised by the Purvapakshi or the opponent. We also believe. Now in the modern days, people believe dream state is true. That is why they ask some questions even to me. Swamiji, I have seen this dream. What about this? I saw an elephant chasing me. I saw some snakes in dream. I saw certain things in the dream. I saw my death in the dream. All these things they may ask, and it is asked to me. I say that all these dream state is an error. So experiences also is an error. For the people who are studying the reality, we need not to emphasize or no need to more concentrate on the dream state. So all these questions are also for the sake of my understanding. It's not that opponent want to understand the reality. My questions are being raised in the form of opponent's question. Should I believe the dream state? Is there any causal relationship between the dream state and the waking state? Or dream state can be analyzed from the waking state? Because Vedantin and all other traditional teachers analyze the entire experience of the individual in the waking state only. So here the opponent want that you should not analyze the waking state, the dream state in the waking state. This was the question. For that, Siddhantin, the Vedantin, give the answer as the 8 verse. Apurvam sthani dharmo hi yada surganivasinam tanayam prakshade gatva yatha eva iha sushikshitaha. Apurvam sthani dharmo hi yatha surganivasinam tanayam prakshade gatva yatha eva iha sushikshitaha. First of all, Vedanta denies the causal relationship with the waking state and the dream state. There is no connection. Certain things may experience as though in the waking state. In fact, there is no connection. There is no causal relationship. If there is a causal relationship, I should see only with the things which I perceived in the waking state, my dreams. My dreams should be equipped only with the things which I perceived in the waking state. I am not having that experience in my life. I see some other things which I never perceived in the waking state, in the dream state. So there is no causal. What is meant by causal? Waking state becoming the cause for the dream state. Thus, there is a causal relationship for the dream state. This is what opponents question. First, the Vedantin says that there is no causal relationship. Why? Causal relationship, if it are there, how can you see certain things which you never met in your waking state? This is the first point. Denial of the causal relationship. There is no causal relationship between waking state and the dream state. Second is, there is no such apurva, uniqueness in the dream state. Dream state is a state where anything can be in the form of cognitions. Chintaha, anything. Your mind goes to think on heaven, so heaven is there. Our mind thinks about a watermelon. Watermelon will become in the form of a cognition. Like that, all the things in the world, all the things in the world can become in the form of cognition. This is the beauty of dream state. There is no external organs are working, but internal organs will be working. That means the mind, the buddhi, the intellect, mind, etc. And it will think different things which are connected with our previous birth, previous experiences of the previous birth. All these things are brought together as the material for the dream. Thus, in the dream state, we see different things in the form of cognitions. It is the uniqueness of the state, not the uniqueness of the entity, which is different from the waking state. The entity is one and the same. There is no difference between the entities. Which entity we see in the waking state, the same entity is appearing in the dream state. But the dream state has some beauty. Apurvam sthani dharma. When the entity goes through dream state has the beauty to make anything in the form of cognitions, thoughts. It doesn't mean that uniqueness of the entity is the cause for the uniqueness of the dream. No, the entity is one and the same. Thus, the second point is also denied by the Siddhanta. There is no difference between the entities. The same entity is going through three different states, and one state has the uniqueness that anything can be made into different forms of thoughts or cognitions. That cognition is being seen as an elephant, Indra, heaven, the deities, etc., etc. That is being told here in this verse. See, apurvam sthani dharmohi. The uniqueness which we perceive in the dream state is the speciality or the feature of the dream state. The entity is one and the same. Yadha surga nivasinam. As we perceive the people who are living in heaven, we see all these things due to our karma vasanas, the impressions which we kept inside, the desires which we kept inside. All these things we enjoy, we see. Thus, we used to experience all the things, the materials which are collected from the previous birth and the experiences which we have gone through the previous births, whatever things we perceived, everything will become material in the dream state. The entity will be one and the same. Entity doesn't have any difference. It's not another entity. The witness of all three states are one entity, one single entity. They will have different names when they go through the different states. So, there will be some appearance of the heaven, some devatas, everything will be there. Everything will be perceived in the dream state. And after that, it will fold all the things in the dream state. How it happens, everything getting witnessed by the entity, it is just like it is told here, yata eva iha sushikshitaha. A person who is having properly guided by the proper guidance from a person to go to a place. Right now, we share the location in the WhatsApp, correct? Similarly, in the olden days, a person should give proper guidance to reach the top of the mountain or the village after three mountains, everything. I'm talking about 800 or 900 years before. That time, a person should walk. In those times, one will guide or one will give proper understanding regarding the path to reach the location. After this understanding, the person will go through the same path and reach the destination. In the same manner, in the dream state, there is a proper way of seeing all the unique things. And we perceive all these things. It's all due to the guidance or the impressions which are kept inside the mind. And it is the beauty or it is the uniqueness of the dream state. That doesn't mean that entity is different from the waking state. We only need to arrive in one single conclusion. Dream state is an error. The same manner, waking state is also an error. The entity is one and the same. And in the waking state, we experience different things. So too in the dream state, as somebody is taught to see different things through the road while reaching the destination, we will walk through the road and we will see all the scenic beauties in both sides of the roads. Similarly, we see all the things. That is what in the dream state. When the dream state continues, all the things will come or pops up and we will see elephants. I am riding in a bird. I go to heaven. I meet people. All these things are the beauties of the roadside, just like the beauty things of the roadside. Amazing things which are in the roadside, like when I go through the dream state, I experience different things. So the Siddhantin answered for the question. Number one is there is no causal relationship. Waking state and dream state doesn't have causal relationship. Second is there is no two entities in waking state and a dream state. There is only one entity, single entity for both. Not for the both, for all three. And the third answer, Vedantin says, they are one single entity in the dream state and the waking state. Why? In the dream state, whatever I experience, when I come to the waking state, I used to analyze those things I have witnessed in the dream state. If the entity is different, there cannot be an analysis in the waking state, because the entity which see the dream in the dream state is different from the entity of the waking state. How can he analyze somebody's dream when the entity is different? When the waking state entity is different from the dream state entity, how can he analyze? We used to analyze, I have seen this dream, I have seen that dream. How? Because the entity being one and the same, in the waking state, I used to analyze the things. It's very important. There is no two entities for waking state and dream state. There is only one single entity who is the witness of all three states, who never involved in any actions, because the entity is akarta, abhokta. He is a non-doer, non-enjoyer. We never do any action from the standpoint of ultimate reality. That is why we are akarta. We never enjoy anything in the world because I am abhokta. Enjoyership and doership are superimposed on me because of the mixing up of body, which is a superimposition on the reality, the consciousness. So I myself impose the features of the body in the Atma, the Brahman, and the features of the Brahman will be imposed on my body. Both are, really speaking, in reality, that both are one and the same. The Brahman is misunderstood as body, and the body never existed. So all these things you bring together to understand that waking state and dream state are errors. From the standpoint of ultimate reality, there is no difference for the waking state and dream state. Both are errors. This is what the conclusion for that. The Now I will give the complete meaning of the verse. Apurvam sthani dharmohi. The uniqueness which is there is due to the dream state. Dream state have a lot of cognitions, and the materials are from our experiences from this birth and also from the previous birth, impressions, whatever things which we have gone through. Yata Surga Nivasinam. These are all created in the dream state due to the uniqueness of the dream state. Heaven is created, the deities are created which are residing in the heaven, etc., etc. And I used to go and see them like a person who well trained by another person to reach a particular place, and he reached properly in that place because he's well trained. Similarly, when I go through the dream state, I see different things in the dream state, because when I reach to a place in the roadside, how I experience different things. Similarly, all the things I see in the dream state. Yada eva, how a person get trained to reach a destination, on that time, whatever experiences he go through, in that same manner, a person also get different experiences in the dream state, which are unique when we compare to the waking state. But waking state and the dream state are having same entity. That is why analysis is possible, so that they are not different. So we can judge them and we can arrive at a conclusion that waking state and dream state are errors. Now, the same logic is being thoroughly made understood by the 9th verse and 10th verse. We will see. I will read into the 9th verse and 10th verse. First, I will read the 9th verse. Swapnavrittau api tu antaschetasa kalpidam tu asad. I will read in a poetic manner. Swapnavrittau api tu Swapnavrittau api tu antaschetasa kalpidam tu asad. Bahishchedo grihitam sad dristham vaitatyametayoh. Swapnavrittau api tu antaschetasa kalpidam tu asat. The poetic way, Swapnavrittau api tu antaha chetasam kalpidam twasad bahishcheto grihidam sad drishtham vaitatyametayoh. This is the verse. The meaning of the verse is, whatever we have studied is been repeated. Swapnavrittau api, the objects and the experiences witnessed in the dream state are mere creation of the internal world or mind. The objects and the experiences which we gone through in the dream state is merely due to the internal world or the creation of internal world. That is been asat, non-existence. Nothing is there. We already saw that yukti, the logic, An elephant cannot come from the external world and get inside my mind or inside my nervous. Even though I experience an elephant in my dream state, it never comes from the external. Swapnavrittau api tu antaschetasa. Whatever I have imagined in my internal world, that is being seen as my Supna Vritta, the whole topic or whole scenes of the dream. Bahishchedo Grihidam Sad. But when we compare with the objects which we perceive in the external world in the waking state, it is real. Because waking state has a part which is not available in the no, in the dream state. When we see a part, it is not available in the waking state. Whatever I perceive in the dream. But an opponent says that antaschedo grihidam sad. But the bahishchedo, whatever I perceive in the external world, it is true because I can touch, I can experience them. And the people consider that it is true. It is one and the same. It is real when we compare to the dream objects. Dream objects are not available for our experiences, but the objects which appears in the waking state are available for our empirical dealing. So it seems to be sat. It is real for the people who think waking state is real. But Vaitatyam Yetayoho, they are really speaking errors. They should not have any difference from the errors. Both are error. Waking state also an error. Why? We already in the fourth verse and fifth verse, we discussed that what has a start or a beginning and what has an end, that thing never existed in the present also. It is only a seemingly an apparent reality, seemingly appearing in front of us. It is not at all there. So, this is the meaning. I will give you once more. Swapnavrittau api tu antaschetasa kalpidam tu asad. Whatever we create inside our mind, we say immediately it is a non-existing entity. Bahishchedo grihitam sad. Bahishchedo. But what we experience in the external world in the waking state is sat. But in reality, the traditional teachers say they are errors. Both are error. So I will read the Bhasha. It is very small. Apurvatva ashanka nirakritya स्वप्नदृष्टान्तस्य पुनः स्वप्नतुल्यतया जाग्रत वेदानां प्रपञ्चयन् आहा. अपूर्वत्व आशंका निराकृत्य. In the previous verse, there was a problem for the opponent. There is the dream state is a unique place that is been denied and it's been cleared. Nirakritya. Swapna drishtandasya punaha swapna tulyata. What is been seen in the swapna? Jagrat vedanam prapanchayan aha. Comparing with the Jagrada Avastha, analyzing with the objects of waking state, along with the dream state, it has been clarified or explained again. What is told? Swapnavrittau abhi, swapnasthane abhi, antaschedasa mana, manoratha sangalpidam asad. Whatever we imagine inside the mind is not available for our empirical dealing, so that it is called non-existence. It is true for everybody. Sankalpanandaram swapna samakalam eva adarshanat. After imagining, after the same time of the dream state, it is not available for our empirical dealing. So that it is asat, non-existence. A horse which I saw inside my swapna is not available for my ride in the waking state. So it is a non-existing entity. Tatra eva swapne bahishchedasa grihidam चक्षुरादि द्वारेण उपलब्धं गडादिः सद इति एवं असत्वमिति निश्चिते अपि सत् असत् विभागः दृष्टः. तत्र एव in the dream state itself, there are few objects which are available for our experience and perception. I am talking inside the dream state. Few things which are seen in our waking state. Chachuradi dwarena upalabdam gadadihi sat iti evam asattvamiti nishchite abhi sat asat vibhagaha drishta. Even in the dream state, few things are real because I experienced in the waking state. The flying elephant is not real, but the pot is real in the dream state itself. Because in the dream state, we have two things. Some things which are already existing in the waking state, I experienced in the waking state, and now I am seeing in the dream state. Some things which are not available in the waking state, but I can see in the dream state, like flying elephant, or a bird which is carrying me from one place to another place. It's not available in the waking state, but I see a pot in the dream state. It is also available in the waking state. So there is Sat and Asat Vibhagam. That is an existing entity, and the flying elephant is a non-existing entity, Drishtaha. But both are Ubayoho Avi Andasbahi Cheta Kalpitayoho Vaidatyam Eva Drishtam. Both are errors. Whether I have experienced in the waking state and I saw in the dream state, a part which I experienced in the waking state and I see in the dream state, that doesn't mean that it is real. Whatever I experience in the dream state are unreal. Kalpitayoho vaitatyam eva drishtam. Bahishchedaha kalpitayoho vaitatyam eva drishtam. Both are whatever I see in the dream state, whether it is available in the waking state or whether it is not available in the waking state, both are vaitatyam, error. It is not at all real at all. Any object, any name and form is unreal. Now some practical hints apart from the text to apply in our daily life. The very word vaitatyam, error, is something to be understood properly. Error means a committed mistake, knowingly or unknowingly. The world is true is an mistake unknowingly committed by all of the people, even myself and yourself. Right from the childhood, nobody made me to understand properly this world is an unreal thing. But instead of giving the proper instruction, They made me to think this world is real. The people around me are real. Your body is real. If any thought for your body is your non-existence, it will bring your non-existence. If the body is no more, you are a non-existing thing. So insecurity is the product of ignorance. As long as I don't know what I am, who I am, and the waking state is also being considered as, waking state is considered as what? Real, reality. Waking state is considered as reality. And reality means the waking state have lots and lots of issues. My pain is there. My bondages are there. My depth is there. My business is there. All these things are deep rooted and made me to think they are real. There, this Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad helps me to come out of these type of pressures. The bondage between wife and husband is an unreal relationship. There is no duality existing in the world. Waking state itself is an error. What to talk about the relationships? Myself, I have to connect the teachings with the practical life. This is how we come out of all kinds of insecurities. The entity which appears indifferently in all these three states is the reality about me. The experiences which are gone through in the waking state, which are yet to come in the waking state, are errors. One who condemned me is an error. One who praised me is an error. There is no big difference between the dream and the waking state. Vaithatyam tulyameva. Both should be considered as errors. Why should I give more preference and importance for the waking state? My father, my mother, my daughters, my son, my husband, my business. Let it happen. Waking state is an error. As long as my body continues, waking state will also continue. I don't need to have some pressure to conduct the life in the waking state. Let it happen. That doesn't mean that I should become a lazy guy. I do the things properly. I don't get attached with the waking state. Waking state is an error. That's all. The rich and the poor is an error. Waking state itself is an error. I need not to say somebody is rich. Why should I get jealous of them? Why should I have some inferiority complex due to some capacities I don't have, and somebody have the capacities to sing properly, to dance properly? They are beautiful than me. Why should I have the jealous? Waking state itself is an error. People, after studying, they don't give up this idea of I am this body. Body is an error. Waking state itself is an error, and the body appears in the error. So one needs to go through that. These states are analyzed to eradicate my erroneous notions, wrong ideas pertaining to me. I need to give up them. The ignorance is the cause for all my erroneous notions. Once I understand more and more clear regarding myself, I can give up. I should give up. That body notion is the cause for my pain and sorrow, my attachment towards the world. What about others? My father can think waking state is a true. They can scold me. He can be involved in a business, everything. For me, I also do, but the understanding about the waking state is very clear. So one needs to know that waking state is an error. Dream state is not a problem. Dream state I never consider as long as it threatens me. Waking state makes me to I should have a goal. I should have a goal. I should work on that. I have to earn money. I should go around the world. For a person, waking state is an error. What what kind of thinking he will have to go around the world? Everything is an error. The pressure should go to do what is not to be done. That is why dream state and waking state are both one and the same. Logically, the Gaudapada Acharya spend more time to understand, to make others understand that waking state is also an error. The objects appears in the dream state which I perceived in the waking state is also an error because they never existed in my nervous or inside my mind. Anything which I perceive in the world is an error. Thus, the whole idea is a person should focus on what is real. The consciousness, which is the locus of all kinds of experience, is the only entity to be perceived, which is my goal, which never comes to an end, which never have a birth, which never have a death. Why should I afraid of my death? I don't have the death. My body has to die. Once upon a time, it got a birth so that it will die. I never die. I am the consciousness which is the locus for all the experiences and the body and the three states. This idea is to be applied after studying each and every verse. Then only all these Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad will become a saving grace in one's life. We will continue more further regarding the verses and the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Maybe a little bit earlier I stopped. Something to do. We will continue in the next class with the same. Okay. Om Susti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Choparhitaha Brahmana Santu Narbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Suginaha Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhaved Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om